Hi, everybody. Welcome back. This is Tom, and today I want to talk to you about a play called the Savannah Sipping Society. That's a lot of S's. Savannah Sipping Society. So, this play is not done that frequently. It's a bit of a sleeper, people say. I think it's because it's sort of been regional for the United States, but this is a global channel. YouTube is a global platform. And I think it's the kind of thing that could work anywhere. So what works about it is that it's hilarious. This is another video about a series about comedies. I think will sell well for your theater. So how do I structure this? I think that globally there is an appreciation for certain things, TV shows and movies. So Steel Magnolias, a play about Southern women, is sort of amazingly popular globally. So, for many, many reasons. And it's more than just a tearjerker. There's a lot of funny moments, there's a lot of stars in it, like Dolly Parton and Shirley MacLaine. But I think its core is that it's six women from very divergent backgrounds and opinions getting together and their friendship. And there's lots of ages. Also, The Golden Girls, which takes place in Miami, which maybe to you, where you live, that's not a Southern story, but the popularity of the Southern characters, where it is, the friendships, that's also speaks to what people want to see out there. So, Savannah Sipping Society is about four women. They're all extremely different characters, and they form friendship. Already, we're winning. We're really winning. They're strangers. The three main women, which are described as older, but what does older mean to you? Is that middle age? Is that old age? It doesn't matter. You can cast anything you want. Any race, any color, any age. This is very important. You need options. You need to put your favorite character actresses in your area in this piece if they can handle the humor and they can handle the accent. So the three women, they meet in a juice bar after a yoga class. None of them is doing particularly well in yoga, which is just a learning curve thing that a lot of people can relate to. Yoga to them is about stretching. They can't quite make it. you know, they're trying to better themselves with exercise. Let's complain, so forth. And they find they have something in common, just complaining about yoga class and how they're not doing well. Then a fourth woman is added who's described as younger. What is younger? How much younger? Doesn't matter. And she is a manicurist, I think. And she's a little more perky. She's got a different attitude than the rest. Not totally different, but part of her thing is that she wants to be a life coach. And in the characters, there's a woman who's a widow, a recent widow, a woman who's had a divorce. I'm not sure it's about having a terrible divorce, but she's had a divorce and she's depressed about it. And then another woman who's very upset about losing her job. So they have things to complain about. And then there's this other person who's introduced who is a struggling, sole proprietor for her business. And they're already opening up to each other, but with her I want to be a life coach thing, it's why don't we open up to each other? What do you think? So what I want to say now is that it is very much of its time and place. It can happen at any time, but you need to choose a time, okay? There is nothing in it that is to do with cell phones or what era they're in, that kind of thing. If you want to push it back 20 years, that's okay, because of your costuming needs, which you have in stock. If you want to have it present day, that's fine too. It's sort of universal. And when I say sipping society, they get together on someone's veranda, on her porch, her outside space, stoop, whatever you want to call it, but it's pretty. In Savannah, in Georgia, in the United States, your porch, your veranda is a place to sit, to watch the neighbors, to have a rocking chair, to gossip, to greet the neighbors. It's very social. So you have to put that into your mindset. This is how this society works. It's a really warm climate, and it's famous for mint juleps, which is sort of a cold drink with fresh mint and bourbon. They do like their bourbon, but it's not a play about drunks, okay? Sipping society. Now, because of the heat and the humidity in this area of the United States, people can get drunk fast. So sipping is considered polite. Now, Savannah, when I say it's about time and place, you choose the time, you choose the era. Obviously, if you go back to the 60s, there weren't really women being life coaches. You know, yoga wasn't a thing. It was considered weird in the United States. So be careful where you put it, okay? I'm not advocating it. I'm just choosing a different time. But what I want you to think about is what you have in stock with these actresses, or if you're having money troubles with your theater, and these actresses are like, well, I have my own clothes, and that's what I would feel most comfortable in for these scenes, then great. So you choose the time and place if that matters to you. Time era. The place is Savannah. That's very particular. So Savannah is hot. It's muggy. It's friendly. It's social. It's this kind of thing. Now, there aren't a lot of movies that really show Savannah and its society, but if you want to watch something, watch Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil. This gives you an idea of what their society is like. Being polite, being witty, being amusing, realizing that your neighbors could be eccentric but not calling them out on it, and accepting of other people. You know, what is polite there? If you have to talk about someone, it's behind their back. You don't do it to their face. That's not right. It's not an in-your-face kind of New York society for, if you're not familiar with the United States and their societies and the way our areas work, it's not like that. Here's a for instance. There's a joke about Savannah and some people sitting on their veranda, their porch, waving at the neighbors, just like this show is. And I don't think everybody understands it, but it depends on if you know those type of people. So the joke is very simple. Oh, there's Mrs. Jenkins. Hi, Mrs. Jenkins. How are you? Good. She's got a beautiful head of hair. Does she? Well, you know that's a wig. It is? Sure is. Head so bald you could see her think. Head so bald you could see her think. Mean, but funny, but not the kind of thing you'd say to her face. Okay? When you watch Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil, which, you know, is about murders and ghosts, and if you pay attention to just the humor between people and the way they speak to each other, that's what you're concentrating on. There's a great line where someone has to excuse himself from the area because someone's talking about the murder, and he doesn't really want to be involved, not because he's hiding anything, but it's more of a private conversation. So he holds up his glass and he says, he looks at his cocktail and he goes, "Oh, my ice cubes are getting parched. My ice cubes are just starved for some liquor. My ice cubes are getting kind of dry. They're parched for some bourbon." This is good humor. You can't just say, "I'm going to get myself a drink." My ice cubes are getting dry. They are parched for some bourbon. I think that's the line. This is that kind of society. So when you know this background and you're directing in the UK, in New Zealand, hi New Zealand, you watch my channel a lot, thank you. Argentina, wherever you are, the beauty of casting women of radically different types and women who have very different backgrounds, who are coming together in friendship and drinking liquor, sitting on a porch, maybe they're in rocking chairs, maybe they're gossiping. You can treat every line as not precious, but every line is rich. Now, not everyone needs to have the same accent. There need to be some sort of like that style of like Blanche Devereaux from Golden Girls, that sort of Moonlight and Magnolia kind of southern accent, because it's so hot. They're hot, and there's fans waving, and they're just a little bit slower. That means that you can really relish the pronunciation of everything. Now, if you have an actor or an actress who can't quite do the southern accent, there are shades of it you can put in. I believe one of the characters is new to town. She's come to take care of her sister, who's aging and has dementia. Maybe her accent is different. There are different kinds of accents in the south of the United States. They're not all the same. But what they don't have is a Yankee accent, which is a lot harsher and has different sounds. They don't have a California accent. You need to choose your accent, but an accent that reaffirms the heat and the humidity and the slight slowing of syllables and pronunciation, however you want to treat that. You can just have a tinge of an accent, and depending on your character, who can do the accent better, has the stronger accent. Now, I know that people from the United States, we tend to just imitate each other from different areas naturally. Not everyone can do it well, but we do really like the Southern accent. And we do really like the ones that are more witty, and we really enjoy imitating that. Are we perfect at like New Orleans accents or Alabama accents? No. But we can sort of pick up the Dolly Parton accent because we're so familiar with her. She is a global sensation that everyone knows. So I think that if your actors go for that Dolly Parton accent as one of the characters, you're good. If you watch Steel Magnolias and you sort of see how they all sort of treat it, ironically, the one that grew up in the South, Julia Roberts, doesn't lay it on too thick. She grew up in Georgia, but there's a lot of accents in Georgia. I think she's doing close to her own with a little tinge of a Southern accent, stressing a few words. Anyway, don't worry about the accent too much, but do your work, because the accent makes the words richer. This play is a laugh riot. It really, really works. And it's got all those elements that your audience will like. Older women, women bonding, we just don't see a lot of that. Not really. Women friendships. We see friendships on stage, but we have everywhere, globally, a special place in our hearts for people that really bond and strangers that bond, not over depressive things, but humor, depressive things, opening up, being vulnerable. When you get the whole gamut, and it's not just this is the tragedy piece, and we're going to cry or have an adventure, and we'll bond over that. When this has everything, okay, and it becomes a real bond, then we love those stories. And you can kind of start looking through all the things that you like. Maybe just choose sitcoms. What do you all know? Well, you probably all know Friends. And the fact that we really love Joey and Chandler, we love their friendship. We love that they were strangers and they're roommates now. And they're very different. And they're bonding. And their hijinks and their little adventures. And their silliness. And their familiarity with each other. We like it when people do that. We like it when strangers meet. We're very different. I can't say this enough. It really works for your audience. And if it's funny, you're golden. These will sell. These theater tickets will sell. And honestly, there's just not many parts for older women. So I would lean into the older women thing or the middle-aged women and really go for that. Again, the younger character doesn't have to be that much younger. Maybe she's 5 years younger. It doesn't matter. Choose your best people and make this a great experience. So it's not one of those plays you've heard about very frequently, but it should be done. It always gets good reviews. It always gets positive feedback. And it always sells out. Word of mouth flies quickly with this one. Do your advertising, but think about it. Savannah Sipping Society, okay? And if you're in another country and You need to build your play up about what this society is. Think about ad libs, little ad libs. It's so hot today. The air is like molasses. Just think about little ad libs to throw in there at the beginning of your play to really like get the feeling of place. Really think about what it is, what we're doing. Wave at the neighbors. Maybe it's not in the script. Hi. Wave at the neighbors. You really get a sense of what's happening in this community. That's good. Okay? And we'll all recognize what this community means to these people. All right. It's a good play. Have a look. There's going to be a link in the description. And I think a review. And see what you think. Savannah Sipping Society. Okay. That's enough for today. We'll talk again. Bye.